Welcome to Problem Solve, the podcast where me and a special co-host solve all your problems really easily, probably.
Problems? Are you kidding me? I don't have any problems. Okay, I might have a few, but I can work on them with you. Come on.
This is a podcast where we explore the intricate world of relationships and navigate the complexity of mental health together. I am Jeff Gunther, a licensed therapist, but in this space, I'm your host, not your personal therapist or the therapist for our guests. This show offers a platform for open conversations about relationship and mental health challenges, providing insights and perspectives for educational and entertainment purposes only. It's crucial to remember that our discussions do not replace professional therapy or constitute a therapist-client relationship between myself, our callers, or you, our listeners. If you're dealing with personal struggles or seeking support, I urge you to consult with a qualified professional who can provide the personalized care you deserve. Thank you for being here. Let's dive in. Welcome to Problem Solved. Kelsey Darragh, how are you doing?
Oh my God, Therapy Jeff, this is so cool. You have gone from being on my TikTok to in front of my face, and dare I say it, a friend.
That's right. Yeah. How long have you been following me?
I mean, since you popped off, I feel like,
Yeah.
right? Like you were giving such good relationship advice when I was going through a breakup, like an uncoupling of, it stretched over 8 months. So you were sent as links to my ex-lover many a times. I can't tell you how he might feel about you, but I strongly adore you.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a pretty typical like feedback I get is that people going through breakup find my videos, send them to their usually they send them to their boyfriends. And because of that, I've gotten some weird, I don't know, sort of death threats, like from angry guys.
I love the idea of like a sort of death threat, like, oh, I don't mean it, but
well, it's not like the death threats aren't like I'm gonna kill you. It's mostly like I hope you jump out of a window or I hope you die from cancer.
Oh my God!
Like they're trying
thoughts
to
and cancer. That's rude.
They're trying to like manifest my death through a vision board that they're creating on the wall.
Just
sort of
over
thing.
there, like on Pinterest, just like Xing out your face. That's rude.
They're writing
we don't
like
call
fan
that energy
fiction.
Yeah. I'm sorry that's happened, but glad you're in the world because so many more people, I'm sure, adore you.
Thank you. Yes, I've caused so many breakups and I'm so proud of it.
Good. Yeah, we need that. You know, I needed the
do.
little push over the ledge and I'm glad I got there.
Yeah. Can you introduce yourself to everybody?
Yes. Hello. I'm Kelsey Darragh. I am a content creator, mental health advocate, podcast host. I talk about all things like women's, queers, mental health, relationships.
Mm-hmm. You do.
And that's what I'm sticking to.
Yeah. And you wrote a book, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, my first book was called Don't Fucking Panic. I hope I can cuss on this podcast.
You can.
It's a workbook all about living with panic disorder and anxiety. And I'm about to release my second book all about breakups. So that's, if you could see my wall, I look like one of those crazy death threat guys with like Post-its and like string and X marks.
Right.
It's kind of a chaos mess over here, book writing.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. How like what's the most annoying or shittiest way that your anxiety has like manifested in your life? Like what's the worst symptom that you have ever experienced?
I mean, I always tell people unless you've ever had a panic attack, it's very hard to describe just what a mind fuck that can be. And so not necessarily even the panic attack itself, but the fight with my body, like the not trusting my own body after experiencing panic disorder, which I've luckily been in remission now for many, many years and have been able to manage it. But just even without having had panic attacks in years, I'm still like, what you doing, body? Why are you trying to betray me? What is that thing happening? And there's like a really fun depersonalization, disassociation that goes along with some of that. And just detaching from your body sometimes is like a fun little exercise I didn't know I could do, you know?
Exactly.
It's like a magic trick I didn't ask for.
Yeah, I ever since I was really little, if I ever got anxious or felt panic, I would just faint. Do you ever faint when you feel anxious or no?
But
Oh
I
my God.
don't envy you people. The ones that faint and the ones that throw up are like, that's my worst nightmare. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
I know. And when I was a little kid, I just couldn't control it. But I was so little that like the fall onto my face wasn't too severe because I was real close to the ground. So it was kind of okay. And it would usually happen. Yeah, it would happen like if someone got hurt or was going to get hurt, or if I got hurt or was going to get hurt. I just like I'm out. I'm done.
You're like,
it's like,
how can I make this better? Let me hurt myself.
Exactly. But it like as I, grew up and became an adult, I still suffered from like sometimes fainting spells if I felt too anxious or upset. But they weren't, I learned how to like manage it to a certain degree. But I told all of my partners whenever I got into a relationship, hey, sometimes I suffer from anxiety, and when I do, if it gets really severe, I will faint. And it's not a cute faint.
No.
It's not like I'm fainting and I look so adorable. It's like I look like I've died. Like something really horrible happens.
I'm imagining like a cute fainter is like a 1700s like Victorian woman that like pulls out a chaise lounge and is like, this is a spot I'll faint. Like, no, like you're a mess. There's no cute way to pass out. Holy shit.
I'm a fucking mess. And so this one time back when I was married, maybe 7 or 8 years ago or something, I'm also like such a big fucking baby when it comes to doing drugs. So if I'm like drinking or smoking, if I start to feel different than I typically do, I can get an anxiety attack or a panic attack. And there's this one time I had a really bad cough and I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, I'm going to prescribe you cough syrup with codeine.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
that lean, baby.
I was like, that codeine is going to fuck me up. I'm not doing codeine. He's like, don't be a little baby. So I was like, all right. So I went home and I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to do this codeine and I'm kind of feeling anxious already because it's going to make me feel weird. And she was like, you're such a little bitch. Who did I marry? And so then like I just did the cough syrup with codeine. We go out to a restaurant to get some veggie burgers.
No.
I don't know why. But like while I'm at the booth, I know I'm starting to feel anxious. I'm starting to feel sweaty and my like body is starting to overheat. And I was like, Kate, I need to go outside and get some air. I go outside. I'm like, oh shit, I know I'm going to faint. So I get in my car so I don't just like face plant on the cement. I get in my car, I sit in the passenger seat. Kate comes out. She's like, you okay? And I was like, I'm okay. I'm about to faint. I'll feel better once I
fainted?
Yes. That always works. I faint and I'm just like, yeah. And I'm ready to go after I faint.
It's your on-off button.
So I'm sitting in the car. She's looking at me. I faint and she freaks the fuck out.
Kate.
And I told her, like, I'm a fainter. I'm not cute, but I faint and I look like maybe I had a heart attack. And so she calls 911.
Oh, Kate.
I know. And so I wake up like 30 seconds later or whatever while she's like on 911 and I had like pissed myself. And because that's like the worst. Like that doesn't happen often, but every now and then I'll faint and pee myself, and I'll also be so sweaty. God. So I'll just have sweat and piss all over.
That's
and
so
I was
hot.
like, hang up the phone. Let's just go home. We go home, and she's like, "What can I do for you?" And I was like, take my clothes and put them in the washer. Yeah. And so I like take off these gross pants and clothes, and she puts them in the washer. And then when I got out, I was like, oh, where's my phone? My phone was in my pants that she like threw in the washer. And we never got over that fight. I was like, you needed to fucking check like all the shit in my pants. And she was like, you have peed all over your pants. There's absolutely no way.
The phone needed to go for a wash either way is what I'm hearing from her side.
Exactly.
Wait, I'm so sorry that you're like that. I thought every time I share with other people like our symptoms, I'm like, you know what? There's gratitude in this because I'm grateful that that's never happened to me. Like, I'm sorry that happened to you, but damn, sometimes you wonder, would you rather disassociate or piss your pants in front of a loved one? And I think I'd rather disassociate a little bit. But wait, can I ask you a question? Because I'm so curious, because I did see a video of you talking about how you don't drink or you don't like the taste of alcohol. And I have been sober from alcohol for 5 years, but I have always been a bit, like, how do I put this without sounding crazy? I've been a big fan of drugs. Like, I'm a big fan of drugs for other people. I am so anxious, and my panic disorder was so bad, and a lot of them were spawned off of like bad marijuana trips or whatever but here's the thing. There's nothing I want to do more than like a fat dose of mushrooms to see how my anxiety, like, does anything get healed? Does anything like purge itself? Because I've tried ketamine therapy, I've done microdosing, I've heard about like MDMA. There's nothing more I want than to be one of those spiritual therapized people.
Yeah,
but
too.
Like, do you feel the same way?
Well, let me tell. Well, so it was, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago that I like took a real mushroom trip. And you can do this in Oregon, right? Like, it's legal where you can like take the trip in a therapeutic way and have your like psychologist facilitator there with you. And I am just like you. We're like, I love especially psychedelics, and I recommend it to everybody. And I want to be able to break through. Here's the problem, and I don't know, you might suffer from the same thing that I suffered from, which was like, I took my big dose of mushrooms, and the mushrooms, like, quickly, like 10, 15 minutes into it, they're like, all right, we're fucking going for it, right? And I could tell that the mushrooms were like doing their thing, but there was this other part of me that was probably fueled by anxiety and fear, which is like, no, babe, we're not fucking going. Yeah, we're not going. So the whole time, the mushrooms are like, please come with me. We're going. And this other party is like, absolutely not. So it, for 4 or 5 hours, it was just me experiencing the tension of that, which was incredibly uncomfortable.
What was your dose? Like, were you like to the moon?
I've done it twice. And the first time I went to the moon with 5 grams. And that was the worst 5 hours of my life physically that I've ever experienced.
No, okay, see, this is my fucking fear. You lived it.
And then the second time, which was a few weeks ago, was only 2 grams. And I, like, after 90 minutes, my facilitator was like, all right, we got 1 more gram for you. You want to take it? And I was like, get out of my life. There's I'm fucking gone, babe. There's no way I need that. Throw it away.
Dude, I'm dying. That was
there's that.
Literally, I wanted to do ketamine therapy because of the exact reasons you listed. Like, you're in the presence of a medical facilitator.
Sure.
You're as safe as you humanly can possibly be. They're monitoring your vitals. I'm like, let's fucking go. And like, they do it as an injection. So once it's in, babes, like, you're going.
Right.
And I had a fun time going off, like up. And another reason why I did this is because I'm on SSRI. So I couldn't do the MDMA or the psilocybin. So I went off, and then they said they have never seen someone metabolize it so fast that I took off my headphones, my eye mask. I was trying to get undressed in the room, and I was like, I don't want to be high anymore. And they were like, okay, you're about 6 minutes into an hour-and-a-half trip. And I was like, great, I'm done. I would like to come down now. And they were like, no, that's not how it works. Like, lean into it, da 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 da. And I just kept repeating, I'm in an office in Santa Monica, right? And I'm on drugs. I'm on ketamine, right? And she's like, I'm like, okay, I would like to call my parents. She was like, maybe not. And I was like, no, give me my phone, please. And she was like, okay. And she said, there's no world in which you're able to operate a phone on that much ketamine. Yeah. But I had my eyes closed, and I opened my phone, and I was able to somehow get to my parents, like, FaceTime. And I fucking FaceTimed my parents while I was on ketamine, which they're total, like, liberal, hippie, cool. Yeah. Like, they were like, okay, yeah, it's okay. Just enjoy it. And I was like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm done. I would like to not be on drugs anymore. It was me fighting it the entire fucking time. And that makes me so sad because I know I'm going to be you. I know I'm going to just be like, no, you know what? I'm going to let go and let God. Let me just really lean into this. And my body, I don't know what it is, my control freak. Like, why are we like this, Jeff? Solve my problem. Problem solved. Not so much yet.
I know, right? I had an integration session afterwards with like Lindsay, my facilitator, and just like you, about 10 times I was like, hey, Lindsay, I'd like this to stop. I'm incredibly uncomfortable. And she's like, well, this is where you are. You're 35 minutes in. We got about 4.5 hours left. Like, you're in, and then I'm just like, take me to the hospital immediately then. I don't know what to do. So we talked about like the problem of like letting go and not doing whatever.
Yes.
I need to have so much control in order to like survive my childhood. And I've continued to do that successfully as a survival mechanism. And it works for me.
Yes.
So fuck it. I'm never doing any drugs ever again. And I can say this with confidence. You should never do psilocybin. It is not the right thing for you to do.
Bro, the way you're so fucking right. And I'm like, it's so nice to hear because I've never really met someone that has had that experience. Like most people are like, no, I used to be like you and now I'm not. And I'm like, I don't know if I don't want to be like me because I like me. I like you said, like I'm thriving, surviving, like we're okay. And I like the way I am. Why do I want to break through to the other side? Like I'm good on this side.
Yeah, you're good on this side and you're not going to be able to. There's going to be a part of you that will not allow you to get there. You've gotten your fucking proof when you did the ketamine. Don't fuck with it anymore. You're done.
I'm done. I'm sticking to my pharmaceuticals, to my prescribes. But I do not hate my little codeine cough syrup when I get the really gnarly sinus infection. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Okay.
You just can't go anywhere, Jeff. That's cuckoo pants that you left.
I don't know why I did that. I don't know.
That's cuckoo
that was
pants.
Bad. Yeah.
Next time, horizontal in bed. That's my advice.
Okay. All right, we're gonna start solving other people's problems. We've got some listener questions for you.
Went on a little bit of a tangent to solve my own problem.
This was really important for people to hear. I think they got a lot out of it. Yeah,
it was important 100%. For me, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah. Okay, Andrea, why don't you go ahead and play the first question for us?
Hi, Jeff. Firstly, I think you're amazing on so many different levels. I'm from London, and I've been following you for a while. And I just wondered, I've just turned 45 last week, and I haven't had sex for, God, I think Whitney was still alive the last time I had sex. It's been that long. And I am just beginning to wonder is it ever going to be possible again? It genuinely feels like, I don't know whether it's almost like being worse than being a virgin. It's been that long, and at least you had an excuse to be like a virgin when you were a virgin, and not having any kind of intimacy for this long. You kind of begin to wonder whether it's ever going to happen for you again. And I just, how do I figure that out? Like, do you have any advice on how to go about figuring out? Because I can't really figure out whether I want to ever again or whether I don't. Whether I'd be perfectly happy living out my days without ever having a sexual partner again, or whether I'm just kind of out of practice and just not, in that mindset. But so yeah, how do you figure that out? What would you advise me thinking about or reflecting on to figure out whether it is something that I do want in the future, or if it's not? And is this something that happens to a lot of people? Do you hear this from people? I don't know. Let me know.
Well, hold on. So she said she hasn't had sex since Whitney was alive.
Which
Whitney? Who's Whitney?
It's got to be Houston.
That's what I thought. Whitney Houston. Yeah. Is that like a
2012?
2012?
No, but I get your point. Is that like a marker in time that we all
Yeah,
know?
do people talk about is there some other Whitney in London that I'm not is that like a queen or princess or something
I
that I'm
feel
not
like
aware of?
it told me a lot about her in a way that I wasn't excited. And like, I get it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So God, if it's Whitney Houston, and I think Adam's here, he's our producer. He Adam, if you know if you've ever heard of this and like in the UK of like I haven't had sex since Whitney was alive, drop us a little
Yeah,
chat
let
in the
us know.
chat
Is
box.
that what you guys
Yeah, or
say?
Andrea, do some research. I have no idea what they're going. Anyways, um okay, so she's 45. She hasn't had sex in a really long time.
Mhm.
She's considering maybe that like she may not, maybe she doesn't ever want to do sex ever again. Have you ever felt that way? That like maybe you're good, maybe you're
Oh my
done?
God. So a lot of my content is about sort of sexual liberation. I myself am a bisexual person. I'm in open relationships. So a lot of people think that I am just this like greedy, slutty person, which is true. I am the stereotype. That is my Tinder bio. But there was a period of time where I had gone back on my Lexapro, and
Mm,
I love Lexapro because I've always felt like it was an additive for me, and not to name drop SSRIs or anything like that, because for everybody, everything is different. But there was a period of time where my vagina like sealed shut. I went inward. I was whatever the opposite of horny is, that was me. And I
uh-huh.
felt this huge identity crisis because a lot of
Mm,
I don't want to say brand, but like inner soul is a sexual person. So I
mhm,
remember I went to my doctor, I asked my gyno, like I was actively seeking out help from people being like, something is wrong with me.
mm,
And it was the first time that I felt like no one understood what I was going through, even though one of the top symptoms of Lexapro is lowered libido.
right.
So it feels very isolating, and it feels like it could last forever. Now, mine, granted, didn't last for, what is that, 12 years,
Hmm.
but I understand the fear of, will it ever come back? Will I get it back? So I've totally been through this, but with time and the right person and a lot of like self-discovery, a lot of alone time,
Hmm.
I found that I still enjoyed the active sex and self-pleasure, and that orgasm isn't always the goal. And once you take that like pressure off yourself, there's a lot of good literature out there, like
Hmm.
She Comes First, etc.
Hmm.
Things that will like make you feel less shame about it, which I think was the most important part of that process, was just
Hmm.
getting away from the like, am I fucking weird that I'm not fucking? Like, am I weird that I'm not like humping the side of the pole everywhere I go?
Right.
Like, that was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. It's jarring when like all of a sudden something that is important to you or that you are excited to do or is part of your identity or hobby or whatever, like when something changes so dramatically and you're not
Mhm.
doing the thing that used to define you in a certain way or that you used to think
Mhm.
was really fun. Yeah, that's a real mind fuck. And there's
Yeah.
like a grief process that you
Yeah.
go through for a
100.
little bit and
Yeah.
then maybe come out the other side being like, no, this is the new version of it, or I'm back or whatever. But it's a upsetting, lonely journey sometimes.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced anything like that?
Not voluntarily. I mean, I've had like I had like a 2 year dry spell only because I was like such a brokenhearted baby
Oh,
after one of my
yeah.
relationships, and so it was like yeah, I like there was a time where I was like, or I love to have sex and it's like a fun thing to do. I'm pretty like sexual person and but after like one of my relationships ended and I was just devastated,
Mm,
I couldn't connect with with wanting to have sex and I didn't even
mhm.
fucking care. But
Oh,
it
wow,
felt
yeah.
really evident that it
Mhm.
was from the breakup, it was from the grief. So I was fine. I wasn't fine with it, but I was understanding of it and
Yeah,
where it came
yeah.
from. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Uh, just for everyone to know, I asked my producers what they thought the Whitney reference was,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Andrea says in New Jersey, we measure everything by its proximity in time to the death of Whitney Houston.
Okay, shout out Jersey.
I don't know if that's true or not, but we're gonna go with it. I guess
Yeah.
maybe that's like a length of time that we need to
Yeah.
take more seriously.
Yeah.
It's funny, the caller almost talks about it in this sort of like if I was her therapist, I'd be like, what's going on? There's something that's causing
Yeah.
this. Is there some bad relationship, trauma? What's your
Yes.
relationship to sexuality? But then there's this other part of me that like almost doesn't want to pathologize it. And it's just
Mhm.
like, if this is how you feel and this is how you are right now, then let's accept it. But
Yeah.
it does seem like she's sad and she's
Yes.
bummed. And I wonder
Yes.
if like if if sex is almost a little too precious to her. Like I kind of want to be like, get out there and go fuck, babe. Like
Yeah.
see what it's like.
Yeah. Have
But I don't
some
know if that's the
meaningless
right.
sex. No, I hear
Yeah.
you because I felt the same where it was like, it sounded like she thinks it's a problem for her because of the length of time almost, right? Like it's almost
Mhm.
like hard to dive back in because you've been gone for so long, and just breaking that seal or, just
Mhm.
jumping back in could be almost the thing that's making it more weighty than it needs to be. It's just
Mhm.
the act of getting back out there. But if she's living, thriving like us, like with the mushroom trip, if we don't need mushrooms, babes, like don't fucking take mushrooms. If you don't need to fuck, don't fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And so if there's a part of you that thinks that you need to fuck and have sex just because like society says so, or you feel like you're not normal or whatever, but this is who you are, then we love that for you.
Yeah.
Embrace it. It's fine. Don't fucking worry about the bullshit that people are putting on you. Or maybe like test out slowly, like getting like hooking up with somebody, like start with
Yeah.
like hand holding and massages and some kisses and just sort of like slowly
Yeah.
work up to it if you feel like it, or break the fucking seal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
just
I'm
Jump out
all
there.
over the place here. Yeah. Jump
Yeah,
out
no,
there.
but I think you provide a nice wide spectrum. Like, I'm sure she falls into one of those categories of what we've covered.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure I hear about this sort of thing just kind of like happening naturally. There's usually a thing that's causing it. For you, it's medication. For me, it was devastating heartache, right? There's usually something behind this. And so you might be like, in not wanting to have sex, it could be saving you from intimacy. It could be making it so that you avoid relationships because that's too scary, or you've been hurt, or you don't think you're lovable, right? So by not having sex, maybe you're not getting in relationships. I don't know. There's like something happening underneath it that I'd love for you to
100%.
explore. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh, good advice, Jeff.
I'm
Therapy
so
Jeff.
good at this, right?
Yeah, you are. You
I
found your
know.
calling.
Okay, problem solved. Andrea, play us the next question.
Hi, Jeff. I really, really value your advice. I feel as though I have a very unique issue that most people in my life don't have any insight or understanding for. However, I feel as though you would. So, my problem is that I've been married for 4 years, and I've been polyamorous for the past 2 of those years. Being poly is something that was initially my idea, but my husband and I agreed on together and started together. And right away, I very quickly met my boyfriend and quickly fell in love and have had a blossoming relationship with him for the past 2 years. And over those 2 years, my husband has discovered for himself that polyamory is not for him, and he is monogamous, and he only wants me. So I decided to break up with my boyfriend just recently, and this is my first breakup, so it's been really tough. It's also a really weird breakup because neither me or my boyfriend wanted it, even though we knew it was really the only choice to me figuring things out going forward. So I guess what I'm looking for advice on is navigating through that first breakup, and also help with how I'm looking at the future and trying to figure out whether I want to dive fully back into my marriage solely and be monogamous again, or if I want to be single and pursue polyamory and do something for just me. I'm also examining the 2 relationships that I have or had, with my husband being monogamous and with my boyfriend who is also poly, and which lifestyle is better for what I want and what I see in the future. So I'm hoping you can help me maybe examine what is a most important first step.
Oh.
Damn, Jeff, no pressure, but this a fucking big one, brother. Also, you do such a good job at like not reacting. Like I could never be a therapist because when she says something, I'm like, I have so much Botox and yet my eyebrows are like touching my hairline. I'm like, oh my God, this is that is stressful.
That is really stressful. And I'm like, I'm sad for her, right? Like you can
Yeah.
hear the sadness in
it.
her voice about how she had to break up. She felt like she had to break up with her boyfriend in order to
She
figure
didn't
out,
want to.
and she didn't want to, and this was her idea. And it sounds like maybe her husband like really gave it the old college try or whatever, but
Yeah.
he got to a place where he's like, this isn't for me. And so he's
Yeah.
great being honest with what he wants and what he
Yeah.
needs and what relationship style he's looking for. And it fucking sucks that like now, okay, great, we're all being honest here, but she has a huge fucking decision to make. And either decision is going to be like, so griefy. Like,
Yeah.
which grief do you want to deal with, right? do you want to like be with your husband and be in a monogamous relationship and grieve your boyfriend and grieve the poly lifestyle and all of that? Because like that's what you want, but you're
Yeah.
not going to get that if you're going to choose monogamy. Or
Yeah.
do you want to like go party with the poly people and then
Yeah.
grieve your fucking marriage and your husband, right? Like both options suck.
Yeah, I've been E&M for the last about 10 years, 7 to 10 years, and I've been very lucky that before I've gotten into every relationship, that has been like a non-negotiable for me. It's something that I'm like, hey, this is who I am. It's never going to go away. It's not a phase. And it's been something that someone kind of has to sign up to be on board with or say no. So to have that marriage established first and then open it feels like it can be even weightier because you made this promise to yourself and to this other person that this was going to be something, you know, a life you fight through and you'd go through the hard times together. But what I've noticed just personally being E&M is that the desire never goes away. And when people just allow it because they want to keep someone nearby, or like it's almost like the wrong reason to do it is if you're just allowing the person to have that because the other option is lose them. And so my advice to this person is, are you staying because you made a promise in a marriage, or are you staying because you really want to work it out with this person and you're willing to sort of give up, like you said, that desire? Or, you know, are you willing to examine your needs as an individual to be a higher priority to you at this time in your life? And like it all sounds like it's going to suck a little bit, but at the end of the day, I think we in relationships make a lot of decisions based on not wanting to hurt another person. And I've learned that that is like not the way to go. And that's not the way to be in a relationship, because then you get all this, you know, resentment. You get a lot of like, it's hard to ever move past that big part of your identity that you feel like you sacrificed for somebody. That's just my 2 cents. I'm not a fucking therapist. Okay, Jeff, you give me the real answer. Give me the tea. Give me the
No,
give me
I
the
was nodding
correct.
along the whole time. That I love that advice. I support that. And yeah, because I'm also like, I don't know if this is a good question or not for her, but is being non-monogamous, is it like I'm wondering if she identifies as like, this is my orientation, or this is
Mhm.
just a lifestyle choice. Because if
Speak
you're
on it.
like, if I know that like I'm a lesbian, but I'm gonna be in this relationship, I'm gonna stay in my like hetero marriage with this guy, then we'd all be like, what the fuck, babe? Like, you're really not going, you know? So if polyamory is more of an orientation to you, because it's either an orientation or a choice to some folks, if it's more of an orientation, I'm just like, let's be congruent and authentic with who you really are. And like, you know, Kelsey, like you're saying, like, if you decide to stay in the marriage because you don't want to hurt your husband, typically a fucking recipe for disaster where
Yeah.
there is that resentment. And it's also not fair to your husband. Your
Yeah.
husband should be with somebody who's stoked to have a monogamous relationship with him. And you're not allowing him to experience that. Like, that's actually kind of selfish, even though you feel like you're doing something really selfless by being like, I don't want to hurt him. Right. So think about that. But there's also the question, or I talk a lot with like my clients about in relationships, if there's a difference between settling for something and accepting something. Like, we're wanting to move towards acceptance of like, there's flaws, there's imperfections, there's compromises, relationships are hard, and I'm going to like accept that there's like things that I have to do where I'm not going to get every single thing I want in a relationship. Fine. But settling for it usually comes with like, well, I'm settling for this and I haven't let it go. I haven't grieved it yet. So if you decide to stay in the marriage, you have to fully grieve your poly lifestyle so you can get to acceptance. I don't think you're going to be able to do that.
I agree.
I just don't think I think that you should probably end the marriage is the vibe that I'm picking up on. But you do you. There's so much more information here that I'm probably missing, or context that I don't get.
I thought it was interesting because she said she did break up with her boyfriend, even though she didn't want to. And so like, to me, that was a really big, like, moment that I understand there's probably a loyalty to the marriage and there's, you know, history there, and there maybe feels like a higher, I don't know, status because you're married, that you owe it to the marriage to try and figure it out. And that just makes me a little nervy because we feel like as people, we're not allowed to change. But very often the person you marry or that you start dating is not the same person that you end up with. Like, we change as human beings. That's inevitable. And if we give ourselves that grace and acceptance to say like, hey, I've changed, my wants have changed, my needs have changed, like, that's okay. And no one should reprimand you for it. And listen, I'm not going to get all preachy on marriage, but like, I really don't believe in the institution because 60% of marriages end in divorce. And if we had a product that didn't work 60% of the time, we'd be like, this shouldn't be on the market. But alas, we've still pegged the patriarchy. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't want you to feel bad about ending a marriage either, because that word feels so big and society makes it feel like this fucking holy union contract that you piece of shit, how dare you change your mind about what you are and who you are. Like, that's okay, babes. And we actually celebrate that change. Just be honest and like, you know, be kind with the way it happens too.
And not only, so yeah, the 60% of marriages that fail, we're not even talking about the other 20% of people that stay in the marriage and hate it, right? And feel like they can't leave. So it's not just 60% that fail. It's more probably like 80% that
that's
fail.
That's fucking
right?
cuckoo pants.
It's definitely cuckoo pants. Yeah. I think, and one last thing is, I think it was Esther Perel who says, like, typically we're going to have like 3 really important, romantic, long-term-ish relationships in our life. And sometimes it's with 3 different people, and sometimes it's with the same person where you're changing and you change together. But oftentimes when you change and grow, you're not growing in the same direction. And that's the end of that relationship that served you, that you got a lot out of, that you like learned who you were. There's like no wasted effort in these really important relationships. But a question that I ask my clients a lot is like, is there any more growing that you can do in this relationship? Like, or is the growth done? Did you get all of your growth and now you have to go into another relationship or really experience your poly side in order to like have even more growth and evolution.
I love that.
I'm not sure how much more growth or evolution is available for you in the marriage. Maybe there's a ton, and maybe you should talk to a couples counselor about it. But yeah.
I love that. That's really smart.
Thanks. I'm really smart. No, I agree.
Amen.
Okay, Andrea, we solved that problem. Let's do question number 3.
Problem solved.
Hey Jeff, my name's Kayla. I'm from LA and I'm 27. I have a question on handling a breakup, essentially. So I was talking to someone who lived in another state for months. Our first date was him actually being my guest to a wedding where I was the maid of honor. He came to my home state. We had a getaway weekend. He met my family and everything was perfect. You know, he was using the skincare products I recommended. We were in touch. We were FaceTiming. He was planning to visit again, all the things. Essentially, something happened with his family where he said he could really only focus on that. And I asked him to just let me know if he needs anything. It's been a month since then, and I just noticed that he rejoined Instagram because he had it deactivated months before we met and blocked me. So I'm really having a hard time processing what this means. I'm having a hard time holding on to the good things of the relationship. I'm definitely questioning if it was like real or not. But there's so many justifications for I thought he was 110% in it. I thought we were on the same page. So I understand the family issue might have been big. But I'm also in a state of like, do I reach out? Do I try to get some sort of amends here? Or do I just move on? And by moving on, how do I really come to terms with what happened here? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Thank you.
Okay. I love that she talked about the skincare.
The bar is so fucking low, Jeff. We're like, just try CeraVe. Just try it. It might help. And we're like, oh my God, you guys, he's like the one. You know what I mean? Like we have that was so cute and so honest. That was so millennial Gen Z. I loved that moment.
I have had countless girlfriends
Yes.
try to get me to like buy their lotions and do the skincare routine. And
You're
it wasn't
welcome.
until I was like 41 where I decided that I was like, okay, Stacey, I'm going to do what you're saying. And let me tell you, I look amazing. Like it
We're
works.
giving secrets to men that don't deserve it.
Yeah.
We are giving away our cheap, our fast or quick. You know what? Next time, let him figure out his fucking cystic acne scars himself, ladies. Okay? That's all I'm hearing is stop it. So I give my man facials. I literally will be like, I just want to pop. Like, can I just, and I get the steamer out. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to do it, I need to get the gua sha. Like, I'm an idiot. I got to roll back. I'm rolling back my love language. That's bullshit.
They don't deserve it. No. Although Kayla from LA, I think you do know what this means. You're asking us like, I don't know what's going on here. What should I do? Like, you know exactly what's going on here. Am I right, Kelsey? Like
the way I wanted to scream.
Yeah, I know. He's done. He blocked you on Instagram. He hasn't talked to you for a month. Like, message received.
Yeah. And like a big part of my next book about breakups was what does closure mean, right? Like we always want this closure. We want this answer. We want that little sliver of maybe we'll get back together. Like if I just hear what it is, I'll change or you'll change or we could fit. It's all a misunderstanding. And like there is no misunderstanding in actions, right? Like he made it very clear. He said, by not saying essentially. And I think we believe closure will come from a gift this other person is going to give us. And it fucking never is. Closure is within ourselves, which is so trite and so stereotypical. But I went through something so similar where a guy cut me off after 14 months of dating, literally like ghosted me. And I went batshit. I wanted an answer. I needed to know why. I was making up scenarios in my head, all these things it could have been. And I drove myself fucking crazy trying to find this elusive closure. And it took a lot of therapy, wasted time, trips, things I didn't need, fucking binge drinking, breaking my sobriety. Like it was such a journey to realize that, like, oh, this is something I'm feeling from like an abandonment wound from childhood. And this is a dick thing that someone did. And it doesn't mean the relationship was a failure. I learned lessons from it. It doesn't mean that I hate this person, though I do think that says a lot more about them than it does about me. Like, there was so much beautiful examination I got from having that happen for me, as they say. But in the moment, it did not fucking feel like it. So I can understand, Kayla, if you feel fucking crazy and all you want to do is reach out and get an answer. But let me save you a lot of time and money by saying, just start going inward, girl. Just take out a mirror. Let's talk to the self. Let's figure out what it is that we can actually control, which is our reactions, right?
Oh my God, you said it fucking perfectly, Kelsey. Yes.
Coming from you, Jeff, I just got wet. I'm dead.
Something I like. So, you know, I've had my fair share of breakups, and I've had a good amount of like women that have come to me during or after the breakup, and they're like, hey, can I get a closure conversation? And I've only been therapy Jeff for 3 years, but in my soul, I've been therapy Jeff for my whole entire life. And so whenever somebody comes and asks me for closure, no matter how I feel about them or the end of the relationship, I'm like, you got it, babe. We are going to fucking do this. I've done a closure conversation maybe 7 or 8 times with partners. And every single time at the end of those conversations where I give you the best closure a human can give, like, the closure conversation that you think a therapy Jeff could give, it's times that by 10. It's the most beautiful conversation you've ever had. Yet at the end of every single one of those fucking closure conversations, they're like, "That's not enough. That didn't do it for me."
It's never gonna be what you want. You're never gonna get the thing you want.
Exactly. So
and you'll trick yourself. You'll be like, "No, he said it. Yeah, it was in there." No, it fucking wasn't.
No. So you do not need to reach out and try to get some amends. You do not need to reach out and be like, can you understand my emotional experience? Because he can't do that. Even if he tried to do that, it wouldn't fucking do anything for you, and you're dragging this shit on. It's done. We're letting it go. We're grieving it. We're moving on, right?
Ugh. Say it louder, sister, for the people in the motherfucking back. They can only meet you where they are, and you're rised above, honey.
Also, I don't know if this is a red flag or this is just sort of like a thing. Like, your first date was him going to a wedding where you were the bridesmaid. That is that is intense.
Heavy. Yeah, that's a big schedule. Like,
that is, yeah.
That was a lot. That's a lot of also, like, I feel like emotions when you're in that early stage and building up to an event like that and having this whirlwind weekend where he's using your skincare recommendations and you're probably like, you know, partying and drinking and surrounded by love. That probably also puts a lot of chemicals in like a pressure cooker and a microwave for people to feel more strongly than maybe even what was real. And long distance is fucking tough. It's tough.
Fuck that. There's so many, like, I don't know if he did this deliberately, but you were love bombed. Like, there was so many things that happened. Long distance, first date, wedding, like, that was so many dopamine hits that you got. I get why it feels like it was the most magical thing in the world, but it wasn't. It was a love bomb, and your like brain chemistry was going crazy.
You were on drugs, babes. That's like the number one line I've written in the new book is like, we were on drugs. We were dosed, sometimes with our consent. Sometimes we just like had a couple drinks and we didn't realize what we were doing. But like, when you can separate that self from like your true self, it's going to make you feel a lot less fucking crazy. Like, it's crazy what chemicals in the brain and body can do, Jeff. It's wild. God. Human beings bonkers. Are cuckoo. Yeah.
Okay, Andrea, we have time for one more question.
That's it. I could do this all day. This is so fun.
I know. Let's hear the last one.
Let's just hang out. Okay.
Hi, Jeff. My question for you is, why do I secretly hope my ex is less happy than me? He moved on fairly quick after our breakup, and I'm trying to figure out why I think him being miserable will somehow make me feel better or heal faster. I know it's not healthy, but just psychologically, why do we feel like we want to be better off than our exes? Thanks for taking my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question.
Why does that psychologically feel good, Jeff? Hit
Here's
us with
here's the
science.
thing. Here's I think that if your ex is miserable, and is having a hard time, I think it makes our grief a lot easier.
Ooh,
I
okay.
think that is true to a certain
Yeah.
extent. It's not you're not
Yeah.
maybe going to get all the way to the end of your grief
Yeah.
riding that high, but
No.
man, that feels fucking good. Am I
It
right?
really does. Yeah, because you
Yeah.
don't want to see. I remember in my early 20s, my first like big girl relationship ended, and
Mm.
my ex immediately went to Vegas and was posting all these pool parties, hanging out with the boys, casino. And I just was like, how could you do this? Him
Totally.
looking happy and fun was not what I needed to see. I needed
No.
to see him off social media, crying in a corner, doing what I was doing essentially. But
Yeah.
isn't there this theory too that like men and women grieve, like women grieve the relationship as it's ending and men don't until it's gone? Like that's that stereotype that we're kind of over
Mhm.
it by a couple months unless we're, dealing with
Yeah.
a little bit more complex grief. But men, one day it'll hit them like, she would have been the best mother to my children. I fucked it. And then they like treat women like shit moving forward. Like, not that that's ever happened to me, but I'm just assuming that could be a thing that happens to people. Am I right?
Sure. Yeah, you're right. Uh, that is a thing that happens for sure. And so there is this sort of like you're set up in a way where it seems like if you're a woman that was dating a man, then it looks like maybe the man has like moved on because
Mhm.
they're able to avoid their feelings and emotions more. Like
Yeah.
men are usually set up in a patriarchal society where like we're trained to not feel our feelings,
Mhm.
or if we do, then they're angry feelings, or
Mhm.
we act out on those feelings, or we just
Mhm.
want to like distract ourselves by like getting
Yeah.
late or something like that. So
Yeah.
this is not a fair fight when
Yeah.
it starts, you know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
But it is definitely like a psychological thing that happens where you
Mm.
want to have your ex because you're hurt, so you want them to hurt. You're hurt, which means that like the relationship meant something to you. And if they were hurt, then it meant something to you and you weren't gaslit the whole time. Like there's something really satisfying about that. There's also just like attachment. Like you were emotionally attached to this person, and so there's these things that linger and you want to know that they have the things that linger. There's like your ego and your self-worth is tied to how much they're grieving or how much pain they're experiencing. You feel really insecure when you see they've like chosen somebody else because you feel like that means that you're like not, you're discarded, you don't mean anything, what's wrong with you. You have these like unresolved feelings and you're projecting it onto your ex, and you feel like your feelings will be more resolved if they can feel upset as well. There's this like territorial thing, like that was your person. And now all of a sudden that's not your person and there was somebody else. Like that's mine though. And it's part of your identity. And this person is stepping into the role that you played. And also like whether you did this or not, there's like fantasies of the future of like, these are the vacations we're going to have, the life we're going to have, the kids we're going to have, all the fun, adventurous things we're going to do. And now it's not happening, and you have to grieve the future fantasy of what that was, and you hope that they're grieving it as well. So I don't know. It just happens. Like you will get through this.
I remember thinking like the first time that I genuinely felt my longest relationship was 5 years. We lived together. We were close to being engaged. We were like, that's the person I thought I was going to be with forever. And I remember after the breakup, the first time I genuinely felt like, no, I hope he gets back out there. I hope he finds the love that he seeks. I was like, oh my God, that felt so much better than like wishing he was fucking miserable and had to pay for his war crimes. And like, it goes back to too that like, yes, there's an ownership that I felt over someone once we broke up. Like I should be able to have access to them whenever I want. They have to pick up when I call when I'm not feeling good. Like if I'm sad, they need to answer me. Like there was all these feelings I realized were really problematic in my attachment if I was following through with them. I think it's okay to feel it. But once I realized like, oh my God, no, this is the way I feel about a lot of breakups, was like I had this ownership over them. I was like, that is not fucking healthy. That's not like like a good quality I want to have as an ex. Like I didn't want to always think like, oh, they, you know, I was the one that got away for all of them, you know? Like I think that's a funny like main girl, main character energy to feel, but it's not something you actually want to put onto somebody else's life. Like you can manifest that in your own head, girly, but it takes also a lot of energy to hate and be mad and wish ill will upon someone. And I think recognizing that I was living in that bad habit of wanting someone to hurt the way I hurt was the only way to feel like the relationship had success or value or meaning was not true, because I walked away saying that was an incredible relationship. I learned so much. I value this person. Yes, we are not compatible and we are not the same people we were when we started, and that's okay. That is life. That's how people change and grow. But to carry that like hate in my heart was just too heavy. And once you let that go, babes, just block, delete, get them out of the vision. The sooner you can wean off the drug, the sooner you're going to feel good, clean and sober from that relationship.
Yes. And you're giving them so much power by focusing. They have so much power over your feelings and your emotions and the grief, you know? So like if you can take back that power, don't fucking think about them, block them all on all the socials, on your phone, whatever. So this is a normal phase that a lot of us go through. If you can, like, sort of like what Kelsey is saying here, like, does this serve you? What is this doing for you? It seems like it's not doing anything really great, actually. And maybe this is just sort of your last ditch way to feel connected to them in a way.
Yes.
And that if you like let go, then you won't be connected. And there's another level of grief that you haven't quite gotten into, but is appropriate to move through. So, yeah, problem solved.
I think I should get like an honorary degree for the day of just like, I'm so actualized, I'm so therapized, I'm so like, this is great.
Yeah, Kelsey, you're like my fucking dream guest host. This was so good. You're such a fucking natural. Yeah, so fun. We gotta do this again.
I was gonna say 100%. And I know you probably come to LA for work and stuff. And me and Zach have to kiki, and this would be so fun to do in person. You gotta come on the podcast too, please.
I can't wait. Yeah. Can you remind people where they can like find you or learn more about you?
Yeah, I'm Kelsey Darragh on all the things. My first book is Don't Fucking Panic, and the podcast is Confidently Insecure with Zach Noe Towers, the podcast where we talk about everything everyone else is afraid to, everything from sex to love to science and hoisms.
And actually, Zach was an early guest on Big Dating Energy, so you all can like go back. He was the first guest that I was just like, I'm just going to ask him 20 questions and we'll see what fucking happens.
Oh my God,
and it was a blast.
Oh, yeah, he really liked you. I owe him a cookie for introducing us.
Yeah. Okay, I'll talk to you later, Kelsey.
Bye, Jeff.
Bye.
Problems. Okay. We've identified my problem. Now it's time to get to work. Patience, communication. What did he say again?